How did you feel it went?
It was fine. I mean, look, we knew that they were all going to start to kind of hit.
They were after you.
But I appreciate that. That means we're winning. And so our goal was just to make sure we tried to show that, look, they're fighting to go up, but we're continuing our momentum. We're going to continue to do well. We're second in Iowa, second in New Hampshire, second in South Carolina. We got one more guy to catch up to, and that's what we're working on.
What did you think of, I mean, Vivek and DeSantis kept hitting you on the ties to the billionaires, the ties to the banks, corporate corruption. And, our guest was just saying, in this Republican Party, is it really a defense to say, oh, well, they're just jealous that I have all these donors and they don't?
It's true. These were all donors of Ron's, and they've left him because he's losing, and they've come to me, and now he's upset about it. It's just like the Americans for Prosperity. That's the most conservative grassroots network in the country, and he was hitting it, saying that they weren't great a couple of days ago. Well, he fought just as hard to get that. He took that endorsement from them when he was running for governor. So it's sour grapes for him. But look, I mean, at the end of the day, when you go and look at what matters, I've been a chief executive. I've been a governor. I know what it takes to take a state that has 11% unemployment and make it an economic powerhouse. I've dealt with Russia, China, Iran, North Korea every day that I was at the United Nations.
Let me ask you about the DEI thing, because they raised it has a different name when it's in corporate America, but they were sort of saying companies like BlackRock, they invest in left-wing causes, and they're backing you, and they're going to somehow want you to do their dirty work, to push left-wing causes, to sort of abandon the conservative movement.
They know I am completely against all the woke ideology, all the woke culture. I've been on record saying that. I will continue to say that. Companies need to focus on making money, and they need to stay out of politics, period. That's
ESG
what I think we need to do.
Refer to it. All right, I want to talk about the trans thing, because we spent some time on that tonight, which we hadn't done before. And I'm still unclear, because I too have looked at your history on this, and I still don't know whether you are in favor of a ban on these medical procedures for minors, or you're not in favor.
Very clear. I am in favor of a ban. I do not think any medical procedure should be done to a child before the age of 18. That's why I said, I've been on record saying if you can't get a tattoo till 18, you certainly don't have any sort of gender transformation during that time. Even if your parents give you permission, I don't think it's okay, because kids, we know kids going through puberty can be confused. They get a lot of different thoughts through their heads. That is not the time to be making a decision like that. I'm adamantly opposed to any sort of body changing anything until the age of 18.
How about the puberty blockers into cross-sex hormones?
None of that should happen until the age of 18. I'm on record saying that. I've always said that. I mean, Ron kept saying that I hadn't done it, but Ron has been lying this entire time. I mean, he's got spending millions of dollars on commercials on TV, and everybody from CNN to Newsmax has said that his ads are false.
On this subject, I confess, I myself and my researchers looked very hard, because I wanted to make sure I knew everybody's position. By the way, I was right about what I said to Governor Christie, too. And what I found you saying was, you probably saw yesterday, there was a viral clip of you, which we had seen.
But they clipped, but they took a small
I've seen the
part
whole
of it.
interview. It was 6 months ago. It was given to CBS this morning, and you were asked if a 12-year-old girl wants to become a boy, what medical procedures, what medical care should be available, or do you believe the law should get involved? And you said, I don't believe the law should get involved. There's that. But then I saw your spokesperson gave a statement to the Daily Caller saying she's against the medicalization of the minors. So I, too, saw a bit of a split. Why did you say that to CBS?
So I don't want government involved in anything related to what happens between parents and children. But I don't want any procedures for kids. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make perfect sense.
That's a law saying you can't change a child until the age of 18. But parents and kids can decide how best to deal with that. That video that was going viral that talked about, I was talking about suicides. And so they took the suicides and they tried to make it something else. But I'm very clear on this. I want parents to have as many rights. When Chris was talking about parents having rights, they do have rights. I want them to have rights. But that's not government saying parents can't have rights. That's us just saying, for a law, you can do whatever you want when you're 18, but we're not going to have you do that before then, because I don't think that's in the best interest of the
this
child.
Subject. Let me ask you another question that wound up on the editing room floor just because time. What do you think we should do about the fact, and I know you're good on the girls' sports and all, I've heard you many times on that, so I don't want to retread it, but what about the fact that the term woman is being eroded? I mean, it's being erased in American society.
This is infuriating to me, because the idea that what was that? I forgot which school it was, but they gave the definition of a woman, and it was a non-man. And I was sick to my stomach. That's why I always say strong girls become strong women become strong leaders. That doesn't happen if biological boys are playing in their sports. That doesn't happen if you go and make a woman feel any more inferior or not, who she is. And the idea that they're trying to erase us, that's my biggest thing, is I think they're trying to erase women by now saying, oh, but biological boys should do that. I mean, it's absurd, and we can't have that happen.
The crack team telling me it was Johns Hopkins.
Johns Hopkins, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So the other thing is immigration. I thought it was an interesting question because you did not say I'm going to deport all of the people who are here illegally tonight. You said the ones who came recently under Joe Biden, that's one thing, 7 or 8 million. But you know that there's a hardcore wing of the Republican Party who are like, what about the rest of them? All of them need to go.
Right? And we have to find them first. So the first thing we need to do is we've got to figure out where everybody is, look at what their status is. And that's why I say it would be easy to say, oh, send them all back. We don't know where they are. That's the reality. We know.
But are you saying if we find them, they're all going? Like even the ones who are working and paying taxes? Because you seem to be saying the opposite.
If they've been here 20 years and they've been paying taxes and they've had a job and they've been citizens, I think we need to create categories of how we're going to do this. There is no simple answer. And so if somebody's been here 20 years and they've done everything right, I think we put them in one category. If they have come over and they're sitting there feeding off the system, or they're part of these 8-9 million that came under Biden, they got to go back. The point of all of that is don't incentivize more to come. The only way you don't incentivize more to come is to deport, is to make sure they don't jump the line and they know that there's going to be a price to pay.
Another question on foreign policy. I asked this question of DeSantis, but I'd love to hear your answer too. If China does invade Taiwan, and I know deterrence, I get it, but if they do, are we going to send American troops?
This is the thing. If we say that we're going to do it, we have to follow through with it. And so the best way to deal with China, and this is what I saw at the United Nations, is let them know there will be hell to pay. That's how you say it. There will be
trying to stay strategically ambiguous.
It's more about, but it's leveraging us, right? So when you say there's going to be hell to pay, it shouldn't just be words. Taiwan should be getting equipment, ammunition, everything they can so that China sees it. This is action that we're actually arming them right now. We're actually giving them everything that they need. That's going to let China know we're serious. The other thing that's going to let China know we're serious is if we stick with Ukraine, if we stick with Israel. Because if they see us just getting tired and leaving.
We are tired, though.
They're moving in.
You look at those polls of Republican voters on Ukraine, they're not with you.
Listen, and this war would have been over if Biden would have given them what they needed in the first place. This war never should have happened if Biden would have dealt with it when Russia surrounded Ukraine for that whole year.
I think most voters believe that.
We wouldn't have had the fall in Afghanistan.
I think most Republicans would give you that, but they're fed up. They're fed up.
I totally agree, and we need to end it.